Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Caruso Family Racing. It's Tuesday night with the Carusos. Hi, Camry.
Hi, dude.
We've got Bahrain 1 Racing Pro Mod driver Justin Bond coming on. Hello, Todd Yuntz. Hello, Frankie Steed. Welcome to the show, everybody. Going to have a good show for you tonight. We're going to learn about Mr. Justin Bond himself, talk about the last couple of races. Hey, Carl, Lee, Mel.
I want to go to Australia.
Australia, right on. So how's everybody been enjoying the last couple of weeks? You got to see Pro Mods at the Door Slammer Nationals. You okay there, Cameron?
Yeah, I'm good.
You got to see some NHRA drag racing, which was pretty unbelievable this weekend. Some crazy crashes from Top Alcohol Dragster to Pro Modified. Man, oh man. It was a crazy weekend. First time winners, Josh Hart and Top Fuel. Greg Anderson winning on his birthday.
It was his birthday.
Greg Anderson, yeah, he was 60. How about he won a 660 on his 60th birthday? Pretty neat, huh? Hello, JB Hamlin. Mark Savage, finally a snow Mexican on the show. That's funny. Hey, thanks for sharing that picture today, Mr. Mark Savage. Ganging up on me.
You deserved it.
2 against 1. John Camp, what's happening, John Camp? Looking forward to seeing you soon.
You shouldn't share things if you don't want it done to you.
What? We're on an airplane.
I was at the racetrack already.
I think my picture's better than yours, though.
I have more.
Don't worry. Oh, don't worry. So do I. So do I. Sam Smith, what's happening, brother? Sandy Glenn, Vili Haga from Finland. Hello to Finland. Pretty cool.
I told him not to wear this shirt. He doesn't listen.
Not today.
You have to show the whole thing.
Oh, I could stand up. You don't have to hurt me. These are from JT Hudson. I think these are a limited edition. I don't know that just anybody could get their hands on one.
Well, you're going to wear it out if you wear it anymore.
I sleep in it.
You're gross.
Hey, Gary, what's happening, brother? Great to see you down in Florida. Steve, my bro, Justin Bond. Yeah, he's going to be coming on shortly.
Destin, Florida. I want to go back. It's too cold up here for me.
Jimmy Crenshaw, what's happening, brother?
I don't like the cold.
So, yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. How about, did you see that, well, you did see, we actually talked about this upstairs, so. They announced this morning that Pomona is, Pomona is, what's the word I'm looking for? Delayed. Postponed. Thank you. I didn't want to say canceled. I was trying not to say that.
Canceled.
Did not want to say that. So, yeah, Pomona the first.
Hi, Sam.
But Vegas is still on, so.
See, everybody thinks I won the picture.
Your pick? No way. No way. Come on, Jimmy. Not true. I think we'll see. Listen, how many days has mine been up since
like
Friday?
5.
Since Friday.
I reported it.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Did you really?
I reported it and you.
You're an ass. Did you really?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
you liar.
I said you were faking to be somebody.
What?
But it said that you weren't, so.
You can't do that. Tim Sims, mine won. Absolutely. We'll see how many likes yours get.
I tried to report your profile. You didn't get put in Facebook jail.
You can't. Come on.
No, I did.
You can't do that. That's unfair tactics.
Well, that's just rude.
That's like some political scandal shit right there. No. You can't do that. Don't play dirty. Don't play dirty. Fair and square.
There was no rules, so I figured I could do whatever I needed.
You see Stevie trying to break the internet with the ProCharger box. Yes, Mikey, thank you for bringing that up. That is very interesting. Did you see it?
Yeah, he's a wimp if he changes.
I think he's just stirring the pot. Maybe we can get something out of Justin. Justin may know something.
How would he know?
Because he's on the same team. Did I do this right? I'm on here. Oh, boy. Did you send him the wrong link?
I don't know.
Send him the link again.
I did.
He's clearly not here.
Okay, don't yell at me.
Or maybe he might
Don't
be.
yell at me.
I'm not yelling at you. I'm just saying. All right, Justin's having some technical difficulties.
It's your fault, probably.
No. He told me he wasn't very computer savvy. So, he may think he needs to be on Facebook. Just tell him to click on the link you emailed him.
it.
All right.
I'm not done.
Camry's on it. All right. So, yeah, he's waiting
so
to join.
loud.
Georgina, that's the Facebook link. Thank you. But there's a separate live stream, right? Is that the word? What's the word? What's the name of this thing we use?
StreamYard.
StreamYard, that's it. Camry sent him a StreamYard link that he needs to click on that will bring him into the studio here. So, hey, Spencer Hyde. Great to see you. You got it? There you go. Okay. He wanted it on his email, though.
I already did that.
Oh. Well, he may be coming on his phone now. Try and resend it to his email. Oh,
Where's
there he
my
is.
hair?
Hey, we got him. Okay.
You think you
We need a Caruso. Eddie Lee, we do.
No.
Hi, Tracy. That would be very cool, Eddie.
Tracy is my favorite.
All right, everybody. Big Caruso Family Racing. Welcome to Mr. Justin Bond. Oh, hold on. He's walking away. Oh, there we go. All right, everybody. Big, we're getting feedback. Racing. Welcome.
Oh, it's the.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on a second, Justin. We're getting feedback. Camry's trying to get feedback. Welcome.
Oh, I can't fix it.
All right, hold on.
There you go.
All right, so Camry's going to text Justin real quick and let him know he needs to turn down the volume.
No, just turn it off on the phone.
Oh, on the phone.
Thanks. I got it.
You got it? All right, let's see. He's working on it, looks like. All right, so... All right,
better?
Yeah, you got it. Great job, man. Great job. Well, welcome to the show, Justin. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
We got actually got quite a bit of traffic on here already that we're waiting for you to get on. Great job, man. Great job. Well, welcome to the show, Justin. Great to see you. Back again.
I think it's.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
We got actually got quite a bit.
I don't know.
All right, hold on. We had it there for a second.
Okay, you commenting doesn't help me
My
fix
bad.
it.
My bad. Camry's trying to fix it. Okay. So, let's see here.
There.
Actually got quite a bit.
I don't know.
All right, hold on. We had it there for a second.
I don't know.
You
I'm just going to have to work with it then.
My bad. My bad. Camry's trying to fix it. Okay. So, let's see here.
I don't know what to
Why is it
want
doing
to
that?
tell you. I don't know.
That's
I
weird.
don't have any
We've never had
answers.
that happen before, have we?
Yeah.
My
Maybe.
bad. My bad.
Turn it down on your phone or computer.
I don't know what
Why is it doing
Maybe. I can't.
All right, hold on. We're gonna try and get Cameras get on it. If you wanna excuse yourself and just go call him and try and
No.
explain it. You know what? I wonder if it's because he's not using headphones. Because doesn't people usually?
Okay.
All right, you're
Comments.
on. Camry's
Stop.
on it. NGK Racing, Jackie. We're having some technical difficulties in the studio. Hey, Hussein, welcome to the show.
Yeah, but your comments during it don't help figure it out.
I'm just trying to be helpful. That's all. Just trying
You're
to help.
not.
Guess who's back? Mohammed. I tried to tag Mohammed this morning in the
Okay.
Facebook, and it wouldn't tag him.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes. There we
I
go.
figured it out. You know
Hey.
what happened?
What happened?
I used the computer.
See, it works.
What happened was I had the Facebook Live playing and the stream thing, and it all got screwed up.
Right on.
That's
all right.
it,
Well,
yeah.
you got it figured out.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. So, welcome to the show. Got a lot of people on here waiting to see you. We had a great couple of weeks down in Florida. But one thing I definitely want to ask you about, Justin, is just exactly how did you get involved in drag racing?
Well, these are going to be some long stories. I'm going to try and make them short. I moved to a different city in the province that I live in, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I know you don't got a lot of friends over there in Mission. I'm going over to this guy's house I know to watch a Vancouver Canucks game. Do you want to come over? He drag races." And I actually, at that point in time, was a crew chief on a top alcohol drag hydro boat. And this was back in 2010. And so I said, oh, what the heck? So I went over there, and he had a top sportsman car there. And a week later, I was at the gym, because back then I was healthy before I became an asphalt drag racer and, grew that asphalt drag racing physique that I've grown into. And so I'm at the gym with my gym partner, and I'm 30 years old and I'm broke. So we're both on the ellipticals side by side doing our cardio. And I say, hey, do you want to go halfers on a drag racing car with me? And he goes, sure. And I said, okay, well, like, I'll drive it one race and you can drive it the next. And he says, yeah, okay, it sounds like a good deal. So I found a super comp dragster on Racing Junk for $25,000. And I didn't even get the car out of Texas, and it went to Sunset Racing Engines down there in Lubbock to Tracy Dennis when he was alive. And we freshened up the motor. And this guy that talked me into buying a race car, he called up a friend of his and said, hey, this guy's bought this race car, but he needs to get licensed. So I didn't even know this guy. The week after that, I went to the local track here in Mission, jumped in somebody's dragster I never met before, and my car was going to be faster than his, so I needed to get an advanced ET. So on the fifth and sixth run, he says, hey, the button on the bottom left of the steering wheel, when you pass the 330-foot cone, just hold that down. Well, that was a nitrous button, and I would hold it on from a 60-foot.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
So that was in 2010. I started asphalt drag racing in June 2010, and then I went in my first national open drag race, and I entered a class called Top Comp, which was dragsters and door cars. And I actually won my very first NHRA race here in town, in my hometown.
No shit.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow. So that set the expectations pretty high then at that point, right?
Yeah.
And then how far long after that did you end up in a door car?
So then it was a while. I kind of, in the first few years, I had no money at all. So I was like, buy a car. I'd race, do well in it, win some bracket races. And then somebody'd want the car more than I wanted to keep it. So I'd flip it out, make $5,000 on it, buy another car. Sometimes I'd buy a car and a trailer from somebody that was getting out or whatever, and golf carts and cars and transmissions and headers, and always hustling around. Like the first drag race, the second drag race I ever went to, because the first race was in my hometown, so somebody borrowed me a trailer to get it there. The second race I went to, I borrowed a different trailer. I had to put 4 tires on it to make the trip because it was a 10-hour drive, and all my tools were in Rubbermaid totes. And and then I think I got into a door car, I don't know, a couple years in. Just a friend said, hey, take a run in my car kind of thing. And that's kind of how that all happened.
Door cars are more fun.
Yeah.
They are, except you always feel like, I don't know, in a dragster, it feels slower. You get in a door car that does like 750 and it feels like you're doing warp speed.
That was my first impression, because I've been 280 in a dragster, and I was like, this is the fastest thing ever. And then I went like 490s in the 8th, and I was like, oh, this is a little faster than I anticipated.
Yeah, so you go like 750 in a door car and you think you're going to the moon.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And then in what year did you actually dip your toes in the Pro Mod waters? What was the first year you did that?
Well, I was thinking about that, and I'm pretty sure it was 2015. I was down with Shane Molinari, and I think we were at the Las Vegas National event. Pretty sure this is the exact dates, in the fall. And behind that was the streetcar race. Mm-hmm. And we were at the Las Vegas National event, and a friend of mine builds chassis up here in Canada, Ryan Heinrichsen from RH Race Cars. And me and Shane and Ryan, we were sitting on a picnic table, and we had a couple too many beverages. And Shane said, hey, I want to go pro mod racing. And Ryan goes, well, I have a pro mod car sitting at my shop that I own. And Ryan said, the only game in town is buy a complete package from Proline. You get everything from the friggin' blow-off valves to the drive shaft. So Shane said, well, how much is it? And he said, well, it's this much. I'll make a phone call. So he called down to Eric Dillard, and Eric said it's this much money. And we said, okay. Well, the next week was streetcar, or week after or whatever. So we all met back down there. I'm pretty sure it was at the streetcar, and Proline flew out, and we gave them the money, and they shipped the stuff to Kelowna, British Columbia. And there was a 70.5 was our first pro mod car. And we put it together that winter, and we came out the next year with a 481X with twin turbos on it. And it was a blower car. Everything about the car was kind of in the wrong spot. It had the wrong crank height, the wrong engine placement, wrong this, wrong color, because I don't really like red. And we struggled and struggled and struggled. We ran that car for the entire year, never qualified once.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was 15, you said?
I'm pretty sure that was the end of 15. I think we started racing it in 16. That's how that started. So we raced that car for all of 16, if I remember right. And then we built a red Firebird that we started campaigning in 17. And we crashed it in West Palm. Shane crashed it in West Palm. We fixed it. That was the winter warm-up race. And then he crashed it again when he ran Stephen Whiteley in Atlanta that year. So that car got hit twice. And on the second one, we decided that it was time to maybe retire that car. And then Jerry Bickle, because we didn't have Ryan in Canada build a car because he couldn't just bang one together as fast as Jerry. And we got a hold of Jerry, and he built us a car, and we got it, I think, 2017 in Indy. We brought that car out, and it was primered black because we didn't have enough time to get it painted. And then it became, that winter, it got painted gold.
Yep.
And then we brought it back out in 2018, and it was gold. If my dates are all right.
Yeah. No, that seems about right. That's because that.
See, I told you we needed a 70.5 and not a new Camaro.
Yeah, 70.5 is pretty cool.
Listen.
I wanted the 70.5 too. I was all for it, but they said it wasn't nowhere near as. So when we had the new car built, I was lobbying. I wanted to do a 70.5 Camaro, but my dad, Lee, Rick Jones, everybody was like, the new Camaro. You need to do the new Camaro.
I don't know if you need to do a new Camaro, but the visibility out of a 70.5 isn't very great.
Oh no.
They got a shoebox size front window, and the door glass windows are quite small.
Interesting.
Well, the vision out of the new car isn't too great either.
No, I can see out of it. There was something weird. So the first time at the racetrack was Bradenton, end of January, and I drove the car there, and I was rolling up to pre-stage, and I couldn't tell when the lights were coming on. It wasn't that I couldn't see them. It was the weirdest thing. Something with the windshield. I couldn't tell that the bulbs were lit. So I get on the radio. I'm like, am I pre-staged? And Lee's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, I go, let me know when I'm staged because I cannot see the bulbs. Like, I couldn't tell that they were lit. And they were all thinking I was crazy. And then Tommy drove the car in Orlando. And after the first pass, he come back, he goes, I couldn't tell if the bulbs were lit. I said, thank you. He couldn't tell either. It was something
It sounds
weird
to me like you got like a polarized front window. You know when you're wearing polarized sunglasses,
yes.
You can see your cell phone and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. But Tommy said at the Gators he could see fine. So I don't know if it was just because they weren't the different LED or the way that they came on top. I don't know. But he said,
Are you guys wearing sunglasses?
I wasn't, but then Camry suggested it, and when I wore the sunglasses, I could actually see the bulb a little bit better.
Yeah, because I sat in the car with my sunglasses. I was like, I can see fine. You guys are just crazy.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. But I'm glad it happened to Tommy too. So Lee didn't think I was crazy anymore once Tommy said it. Well, he might still think I'm crazy, but
No, I was going to say he's different.
Yeah, he definitely is.
So, have you done a full season in NHRA yet?
No. So basically, what happened was
I didn't think so.
I think it would have been the year at the end of 18. Shane's had an aunt that had a 100th birthday, and going back a little ways, when the car that Galot now owns, that 69 Camaro ProCharger, was built, I had spoke with Eric a bunch, and we talked about maybe me renting that car with the potential to buy it, but it wasn't going to be legal for NHRA. So I was like, well, I kind of really want to race over here. But he said, why don't you try it out a few times? So I'd mentioned to Shane, hey, I think I'm going to rent this car and get my license. And he says, well, it's my aunt's birthday. I'm not going to be able to run in Dallas. If you can figure out how to get licensed before Dallas, go get licensed in the car and run Dallas. And I did that. And then I runnered up and lost to Jeremy Ray there in the finals.
Yep.
And then I raced Charlotte the next race, and I lost in, I think, the semis to Rick Horde. And then that was the end of my Turbo Pro Modern days. And then I was going to campaign that car the next year, and it just became that it would be better for us to kind of just liquidate all the assets and kind of dissolve the team. And so that's what happened. And then I rented Ricky's turbo car, if you remember.
Yep, I do remember that.
Yeah, and I qualified number 16. I remember in Norwalk and just got labeled by Castellana. And then the other race that I did in it was Charlotte, and that was the major controversial race where Cal had got told to park his stuff and go to a different sandbox for the day.
Yeah. That interesting. Mm-hmm. We'll leave it at that.
Well, stuff happens, right?
That's a fact.
Do you like the ProCharger or the turbos better?
You know, they're totally different. I will tell you that if you're looking for the rush and the thrill, the turbo car is way more rush and thrill to drive. In a centrifugal deal, and I imagine a nitrous would be quite similar, just the way that they 60 foot and stuff. My top sportsman car is the same. At about 250 feet, all the fun's over. You're kind of along for the ride. And in a turbo car at about 250 feet, it's like hold the F on because stuff's about to get real.
Yeah, it's like a slingshot, right?
Yeah, it's I kind of, if you ever run super comp, a turbo car is quite similar because like I say in super comp, you get 2 launches. You let go at the tree, and then when the throttle stop comes on, you get another launch.
Yeah.
Turbo car is similar to that, right? Like you let go of the trans brake, you're going along, and then all of a sudden all the smoke comes in, and it's like, oh, here we go. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had a Vortec. Same thing as ProCharger. It was kind of boring. I didn't find it fun. I liked my Roots car way better.
Well, because it's just louder and you think you're doing more.
No, it was just left like a junior dragster. It didn't really have.
Well, you were running.
Well, that's tuning. Gear. That's tuning. You should have a chat with Lee White. He could have probably changed that.
So, do you think the days are numbered for turbo cars?
You know, I have a hard time answering that question. I think as human beings, we're very monkey see, monkey do. We are sheep. We follow each other. I think it's about advertising. It's about cost. It's about, Precision Turbo, for example, was sold. The new group, maybe they're not marketing it the same way. On the other hand, NHRA is kind of the most prestigious place to race. I don't know if it's always, let's say the best place, but it's that Wally that we all want around our bedrooms or wherever is what the thing that we're racing for. And in NHRA Pro Modified, the turbos are at such a disadvantage. I mean, you'd need to take 2 or 3 plug wires off my ProCharger car to compete with it. And it's the same with your Roots car.
Yeah.
Like the turbo car is just not competitive. So do I think its days are numbered? I think it's if they gave the turbo guys 2 pounds of boost back and one of us came out with a turbo car and we did well for 2 weekends, I think everybody would be going back to turbos.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
So we've got a question from the audience. I don't know if you can see the screen or not.
On a computer, he can.
What shocks and struts are on my car?
Adam Lambert wants to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Just the same as you do, I'm sure. We run Adam's PRS stuff. When things don't go well, we call it POS suspension. But yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's never Adam's fault.
No.
I'll tell you what. Hats off to them, man. I mean, Adam. We were struggling with some stuff. Obviously we've got a new car, and man, I'll tell you what. Adam was the first one to be over there to see how he could help, what he could do. It gave Lee some great pointers.
I almost got in a fight for you, Adam, this weekend. Just want you to know.
Jeez, that's a great thing to say out there.
I was sticking up for it.
But anyway, yeah, no, it's I think you definitely hit the nail on the head though, Justin, with your answer to that with the the monkey see, monkey do. What's the flavor of the week? But at the end of the day, I think there are some people out there that will stick to what they have and just work harder at it.
Yeah.
And try and make it better. Because, a lot of times that's what it is. And, quite honestly, we've seen this a lot with NHRA. They try to do the parity thing. Pro Mod is very difficult, as is any category where you have a lot of different power adders or a lot of different engine combinations, such as Pro Stock Motorcycle, for example, right? I mean, they've got different engine combinations and they try to keep parity there. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, you went out there and rotated the earth at the Gator Nationals. You went out there a year ago at Wes's race and rotated the earth. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they do come down the pike and have something rules-wise for the ProCharger cars.
Everybody else should just work harder.
Well, I think there's a happy medium. I agree with that.
So you know what? I'm a planner. Okay. So one thing is, like, we go talk about, like, last year when I ran down there at Orlando. The first time I ever drove that car to the finish line was the very first time when it went 562. It was the first time I held the gas pedal all the way down the track. Okay. I'd been to Florida 3 times testing that car before that race, and it had 11 different torque converters in it before I ever held it to the floor all the way down. And there's not a lot of people that have been fortunate to race with Brad Personette, but Brad's really kind of a bit of a, I don't know, not a control freak, not a bully, but he's kind of like your dad. So you'll let go of the trans brake and things will be going on and the car's shifting. And all of a sudden he'll get on the radio and say, shut it off. And they'll be like, but I don't want to. And then he'll yell at you, shut it off. So if you don't shut it off, you don't get to start the car again, even though you own it. So in all the torque converter changes, it wasn't like the car wasn't going down and all of a sudden, a squirrel found its nut and everything went perfect. It was, I seen what I wanted to see, shut the car off.
Yep.
And back then, and when you guys are saying, like, talking about how do you, people are going to keep what they have and make it better. When I was down there running in Orlando and I was holding that thing down for 1,320 feet, every run we had to take the heads off and change the valves because the valves were tuliping. So it's not like, oh, here's your instant success.
Yeah, let's come back, just put fuel in it and a battery charger on it and go back up.
Yeah, it's not that way. But because I'm a planner, here, I did want to actually kind of like, let's just get the elephant out of the room here. So I sat and I went on Drag Race Central today and I printed off the final qualifying session from Gainesville. Mm-hmm. So I just want to talk. So number 1 and 2 was me and Khaled. So we're not going to talk about me and Khaled till the end. So Jose Gonzalez. So he runs out of Proline shop. Brad and myself and Khaled all have a relationship with Proline. And I'm fairly confident that Brad Personette and Steve Petty share notes. Jose Gonzalez has a full-time crew. He has a brand new car. He stumbles and stumbles and stumbles. And guess what? Brad and Petty talk. It's not all Brad, but I'm just saying they're sharing the book, right?
Yeah.
Jose's got a brand new car. He runs pretty good. Qualifies with a 570. The next in line is Lyle Barnett. They've had that ProCharger car going since last year when Alex drove it. He goes 571. We got Brandon Schneider. He goes 571 with a car that's basically, I think, been to the racetrack 3 times. I could be wrong.
Brand new. Yep, brand new car.
Okay, then we got Chris Thorne. Well, that was a turbo car that was converted to a ProCharger car. He bought it, converted it back to a turbo. Then he realized, hey, I'm not competitive with turbos, so then went back to Jose and bought all the parts to convert it to a ProCharger. Yep. So that thing's on its, let's just call it 2nd, 3rd, 4th weekend.
Yep.
He runs 572. Okay. Then we got Alex Laughlin. The car was brand new in Orlando. He runs 573. Then we got Jeffrey Barker. First year with the 959. He goes 573. We got Dwayne Wolfe. He did quite well. He qualified with 73.
Yeah, did very well.
Very well. Yep. I was excited. You know what? He ran his 73 right in front of me when I went to 63. And
I think that was his career best, I think.
Like, it was like the bases were loaded, bottom of the 9th, and, cranked her out of the park. And I was happy for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you got our boy Ricky Smith, and he's going 574, right? And he's got a 959. He hasn't run that thing to the quarter mile very much. And if you don't know Ricky, I love Ricky. The guy's raced 30 years. I've raced 30 minutes compared to him.
I bet you it's longer than 30 years because I've raced 30 years.
But I got a top sportsman car that I work on more at the racetrack than he works on his Pro Mod.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to lift the heads off and you got a nitrous car, like last year, I was lifting the heads off every run to put valves in it. And then we got Clint Satterfield. I mean, they were over boring parts to hook the ProCharger to the engine. So I know they got a new intake and new combination.
Yep.
And then we got J.R. Gray in Orlando. They blew it up every run.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we got you guys, Tommy D. New car, can't even see through the window, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we got our man, Jericho Baldoff. This guy really, really, I think did an awesome job. Him.
Crushed it first round. Yep. They crushed it first round.
Right.
It was awesome.
They come out there. They did an awesome job. New car.
Yep.
And we got Jeff Jones. And they're running what they had, but all things being equal, the Imperial construction crew had a lot of engine problems last year. They seem to kind of have dealt with. So I'm not being wrong when I say this. How many times did the cars go up and down the track? How much experience did they have from last year to port over to this year?
Yeah.
I don't know that they even got to the chassis last year because they were going through motors like every 2 runs.
Yep.
Right? And then we got Jim Whiteley, brand new car. He went to one test session, and then he brought it to the racetrack, and the thing went 82. Okay? And then we get down to the bottom of the sheet, starting with one of my teammates, Stevie. He's gone back to the 4900. He had it out 1 or 2 times and brought it to the race. And you own a 4900. They're not a 4800, are they, Mark?
No, totally different. Completely different.
So when we get down the list, okay, we got Chad Green, brand new car, brought it to Orlando. Didn't qualify there either. Okay. Then you got Eric Latino, a car that he bought from you.
Yep.
Then we got Justin Jones. I know they were trying stuff in their stuff. Then we got Brandon Pez. Well, we know what happened there. That very happy that that they're healthy. They walked away. And then you got Paul from Mooresville, North Carolina. I haven't seen that car out very much. So,
I think that was his either second or third NHRA race. I used to race with him over in PDRA Pro Boost.
Right.
Yep.
So, but what I'm saying is to come over and run like he did, like, good for him.
Yep.
And then Dustin, who's new combination. It sounded to me from the talking that it was put together in like the last 30 days. I could be wrong.
No, you're pretty spot on.
So how many runs did that car have?
Yep.
And then Robert Costa, I seen him with Joe O in Orlando, and they were kind of struggling there. And then you got Doug Winters. I mean, I've watched Doug Winters with the current rules run in the 70s, so I don't know what's happened. Sometimes in drag racing, it's a humbling sport. You can go from a hero to a zero.
More times than not.
in one run.
Yeah, more times than not.
And then Scruggs, me and him were talking in the lanes, like, I got a new engine in here, I put a new trans ratio and a new converter, we're going to get after it. And then we go make a run, and he made a small mistake, which you've made. I hope to never make, but I probably will. And wads up the car. So it gets back to, I guess what I'm trying to say is what I'm trying to get at is, are the rules really offside? Because
a little bit.
No.
Tiny bit. Not as bad as people are saying.
Hold on. When I brought my car out, I ran it 3 times before the first race. Then Khaled drove it because the turbo wasn't competitive. Khaled kept driving it. Then Khaled converted his car over to ProCharger. Right? Then I come back and I run Houston. Well, we got a 2-car team. We've built the engines identical. We've installed the engines identical heights. We've done everything to make those cars the same. If you look at, we run in Vegas within a thousandth of each other.
Yeah.
And then Khaled flies the car to the Middle East and puts 40 runs on the thing. And guess what?
Probably more.
I got Adam working on those shocks and struts all the time. Brad doing this person doing this person doing that. So we get back. I got a car that's had 50 runs on it, but it hasn't left the shop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I struggled all the time in Orlando, and all the way Q1, I struggled even in Gainesville because we're researching developing a torque converter. So you have to stay down that road until you're like, okay, we got to get off the road, get back on the main trail. Yep. So Q2, put in my some of our older stuff that's developed. I do a burnout, I back up, and I have low oil pressure. Shut it off, take her back to the pits, and figure out that we had a suction line loose on the oil pump. Right? But my point is that, and what I'm trying to say is that maybe if you look at the qualifying sheet and you got rid of mine and Khaled's runs, what does the parity actually look like? It looks to me like there's a bunch of guys that are just a little bit behind. And I'm going to tell you, when I started out, and if you listen to my story, I built a car, 481X, twin turbos, paid all the real money, never qualified once in an entire year because I was behind.
Yeah.
So maybe for parity, it should be like you're only allowed to test this many times. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, listen.
But in all reality, you should be faster than all of us because you've made more runs
Yeah,
than all of us.
no, that does make complete sense.
Everybody
Absolutely.
else just needs to go test.
But like I'm saying, like what I'm concerned about is you look at a guy like, let's just talk about Chris Thorne. Let's talk about Robert Costa. So Chris Thorne crashed a turbo car, bought a turbo car, converted it to a ProCharger, and now you guys are going to slap rules on him. Or Robert Costa, he comes out here, he's barely going down the track, and then you're going to just throw a bunch of weight at him or do something to him. The guy hasn't even overcome his first obstacles.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you try to make parity. You're never the first way to fail is to try and make everybody happy because it's not possible. You're never going to make it. There's 26 cars in Gainesville? You're never going to make all 26 of those people happy. It's completely impossible. Someone is always going to not agree with the decision that is made.
Yep.
And I'll be the first one to admit, we've been behind the 8-ball since Orlando. You know what I mean? We found some things. Unfortunately, we didn't find them until after Q3. And we did make a really good run at it first round. Unfortunately, we came up a little bit short. But had first round been Q1 or Q2, Lee feels like we could have ran a 67-68 in round one. You know, he had that much left from that 76 that we ran. He just didn't know where to go because we were so far behind because of the hiccups that we were having. So, I mean, do I think you guys should be slapped with 100 pounds? No, I don't think so. But there's going to be something. Something's going to happen. We can all say whatever we want. NHRA's going to do something. What they do, I don't know.
And the other thing I want to make mention to you is, and I don't want to sound crazy, but I'm going to tell you another thing. Before they make any rule change, I'd like them to get data from every car and make sure that every person shifted properly. Because I'm going to tell you, it took me friggin' 10 runs to get that down pat, and I had to move the shifter button multiple times. Right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that mile an hour was conducive of horsepower.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I look at it, I went 253.8. Okay. I look at Brandon Schneider, he goes 251. Okay. Well, there's a little bit of difference in horsepower there. But how much?
Well, nobody's shifting perfectly yet, so that's also has a lot to do with it.
That's going to take
some time. And that's what my point is. Like, my point
Except
is,
for Belushi, who's got 40, 50 runs.
If they want parity, why don't they just say we all got to have Roots blowers? But I'll tell you why, because you can't all get the same Roots blower. I can tell you in a turbocharger or in a ProCharger, you can all get the same one at pretty much at Walmart.
Yeah. Well, that's, it's interesting you just brought that up, because here's the question too, and you and I talked about this the other day. Are screw blowers on their way? And if they are, that's the same type of deal. Everybody's going to get the same. You know what I mean?
Well, no, but that's the other thing. You don't know. Are they going to say you can't coat them? You got to buy them from a certain place and they're wired shut?
That's what they're going to do. I believe.
You can never open them? Or is it going to be like, when you talk about a turbocharger, I don't think that I think what's SFI'd on them is the exhaust housing. I don't know that the whole thing is SFI'd. I mean, we never modified one in our lives because we wouldn't even know what to do if we wanted. But what I'm trying to get at is if you're going to any sort of centrifugal, like with the ProCharger deal, it's wired shut. We're not allowed to cut it apart.
Yeah. Well,
to make the roots perfectly fair, then they should wire those shut and tell you exactly where to buy those from too.
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Right, but that doesn't happen. What basically happens is they're wired shut to protect the person that built the blower or that sold it to you or leased it to you. It's not to protect, to make parity.
Yeah. Yeah. And that,
like I will tell you at the end of the event, they took our ProCharger, one of our ProChargers, but every time we ran fast, we had to take the converter out of the car, transmission out of the car, the heads off. They pumped, they stroked, they bored it. They checked the valves. We had to take the ProCharger gearbox. Like, we got to take this whole thing apart, even though it was sealed. That's what I don't get. And I don't know, you're a roots guy. When you run fast, they come over and take your blower apart. Have you ever had that happen, Mark?
They literally took us apart before we even made a run in Vegas.
Yeah, well, that was the converter. We didn't even make a run. They came over and made us take our converter out of the car.
Right, but I want to know if they ever took the rotors out of your blower.
They hold on a second. No, hold on a second. They did take a blower apart one time.
But it wasn't ours.
It was Al. Al had to go undo it. It wasn't ours. I don't know whose it was. It wasn't ours.
Pete Farber, maybe?
It was Todd.
Was it Todd?
It was Todd.
I think maybe Totoro. And I think they took Castellanos apart one time too. If I remember correctly. I forget where we were.
Well, maybe they do. I don't know. You got to remember, I don't go to other people's pit because you're not always welcome. It is a competition.
Yeah. Not in our pit. Everybody's always welcome in our pit.
I know, only for the pizza, though. That's when I would come, when the tummy was grumbling.
We definitely always have food.
Listen, we are as competitive as everybody, but you know what? It's and again, you and I talked about this too. It's not a job for me or my family. It is a job for Lee White. It is a job for Al Billis. They take it very seriously. But at the end of the day, we're there to be with our family and have fun and be competitive. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's you always pull into the racetrack wanting to win. Otherwise, would be the point to go, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a real interesting year. I really don't think it's as bad as a lot of people are screaming and jumping up and down about as far as the parity with these ProChargers and the roots. I do think that there's a little bit there, but again, you bring up a great point. I can't argue the points you've brought up. A lot of passes with Belushi over the winter. So a lot of runs, a lot of testing, and a lot of opportunities at getting the shift points right. I mean, those are all huge things.
Say to you, though, but the thing of it is that I'm going to say to you is that if every ProCharger car ran like ours, then I would say the parity is not right.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But we're talking two, and then a third one dipped his toes in it. And was it a one-off? Or was it they could run like that? We don't know.
No, I'm going to say that they can run like that.
But I'm going to tell you right now, what are you going to do for all the other guys?
Well,
that's the question. I'm not here to make an argument, Mark. I'm asking you, what's your suggestion?
No, I think you bring up great points.
Everybody just needs to run their stuff.
I think you bring up great points. Here's the only thing that I would say makes sense as well is you guys have busted your humps. You are showing the potential of the ProCharger. You and Belushi, you guys have done your homework. You have, proven that you've done your homework. Now, if these other guys do their homework and they run away with it too, clearly they can be with you. They just have not found what you guys have found. They may not have what you have, but they could. They could. Now, I don't know that I can tell you right now with a roots blower, we're not going to run in that air that you guys ran 62s and 63s in. We could probably go 67, 68s. That's end of the line for us. But we don't test like you guys test. Maybe there's more to be found in the converter. Maybe there's more to be found somewhere else. So that's why I say I can't argue your points. You bring up great points. But with the data we have, I'm just basing
if I ask you a question, and this is where I'm saying it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I'm not Lee White, and I really hope that a tuner would chime in and maybe give me an education. But if we're talking the drag race is from 0 to 300 feet, let's say 0 to 150 feet is the drag race. Okay? So if you've done a lot of work on your shocks and you've worked with Adam and you spent all the money and put all the runs on it, and every time you go testing with Adam, you put your toe shocks on your car and Adam goes back home, right? Like this little piggy goes to the market and takes the shocks home with him. If the drag race is only 150 feet long and we beat you every time to 60 feet, does it really matter what power adder I have?
Not really.
No, listen, Justin.
So what I'm trying to get at is we're all focused on the number out the back. Okay, with the turbo car, it was different. We would go 575 or 573 at 260 miles an hour. We had 10 miles an hour on the whole field.
Well, you guys had a 192 back split this weekend, and I don't know a Roots car is ever going to have a
193.
Thanks, Camry.
So, sorry, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Pass him some tissue.
Just, you're wrong. Adam wants to know what your nickname for Belushi is.
Oh, no, I can't do that to him. No.
He told me to ask. I had to.
Hey, you're throwing Adam under the bus. You're throwing me under the bus. Whose team you on?
You know where I stand.
So my point of it is, though, is if you had your best run and we had our best run, would they be that much different? And I'm going to tell you that what we also haven't seen, and I'm going to be straight up with you guys, is these things run in the heat. Put them out there when it's hot. Like on Sunday there, it wasn't real hot.
Yeah.
That's all we could run. Now, like Lee might say to you, hey, I could have went a 74, and we were going 72s. We tried to go faster. We couldn't go. It shook so hard the car shut off.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
So, but my point is where these things are kind of screwy is when it gets cold in mine shaft conditions, like 0 DA or around 300 feet or negative 300 feet, these things just go to R for rotate.
All right, share Jimmy's comment there while I get some ice.
It's easier to go. Well, you can if you go test more. See, that's how I feel about rules. Just go test.
Well,
Stop
listen.
complaining.
And again, this is a double-edged sword too. And Justin, we talked about this in Orlando. Not everybody has the budgets to test like Bahrain 1 has. But you know what?
That's your own.
But that's drag racing, right? We've seen this with John Force Racing. We've seen this with Don Schumacher Racing, right? We've seen this with the Harley guys and Pro Stock Motorcycle. So this is not a new...
Well, and you see this also over there with the Torrance group, you know?
Yes.
They started racing over there in 2011, and they didn't really do much until 15 or 16. And now all of a sudden they're like, I'm going to tell you from my observation, they're losing friends. Because they're getting quoted as they outspend all the other teams. Well, they also been doing it for a decade now. And like I say to you, we're always one problem away. Like, I don't know, somebody that's been doing this longer, I'm sure Ricky Smith could answer this question. When you take a race car to the starting line, how many parts are on the race car? I'm going to say 2,500.
Man, I don't even know.
Probably.
I mean, I wouldn't argue.
but let's just say 2,500, right?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So when I went up for Q2, one part didn't fail, but it failed because it had a wire lock on the suction line and it still backed off. So my point is, you got to go to the starting line, 2,500 parts and a driver, and nobody can screw up to make a good bonsai run.
What I've always taught you.
Yeah.
Who turns on the wind light?
The one who makes the least mistakes.
Right.
The person that makes the least mistakes.
And so that's what I'm saying to you is I'm a planner. So what I'm saying to you is
see, I tell you, planning is works well.
No,
they all make fun of me because all I want to do is plan.
Listen,
right, but poor planning constitutes emergencies, right?
Yes, and the other thing too is like you just said about Torrances. I mean, you could throw as much money as you want at something. It's not always about the money. You still have to go out there and make it work.
It's about the people. When you get down to this,
yes,
this is all about the people.
Absolutely.
And I'll be honest with you, I've raced with other people, but I wouldn't trade the team that I have right now for nothing.
So you're happy with your team?
More than happy.
Who's your favorite person?
On my team?
Yes.
Every one of them.
We heard you had a favorite.
No. It's definitely not the shot guy, especially when it shakes. Yeah.
He knew where we were going with that.
Yeah.
Adam wants to be everybody's favorite.
All right, what does this mean? Who is this Roach guy?
I don't know.
Alan DeVries wants to know, who is this Roach guy? Do you know what he's talking about, Justin?
Roach is a friend of mine that lives up here in my hometown. He's a fireman, a local fireman. He's a bit of a shit disturber.
Hey, everybody's got to be somebody.
Yeah.
What any more of this? Yes. Oh, thanks.
Spencer laughed
Cheers.
at something, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah, we got. Oh my God, the comments are off the chain. We got a lot of good people on here watching and commenting.
Somebody's.
Well, I'm not on here to make any enemies. I'm just on here to give my perspective on things.
Absolutely. And then you've listened, man. You have said great things. You've brought up great points, and you know this is what makes pro. In my opinion, this is what makes Pro Modified the best class out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is this kind of stuff right here. This is it right here. But it's going to be. I think it's going to be a real interesting season. I mean, holy crow. Stevie Jackson, you know, 2-time world champion, didn't qualify. You know, what a dogfight. And whoop-de-doo, he didn't qualify. You know, I guarantee you he's still going to be in this dogfight.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's going to be a great year. It really is.
No, I would never count Stevie out. He's probably one of the best, smartest drag racers that I know of, especially in the pro mod deal. I know in bracket racing, there's maybe guys that have a few more medals than him and a few more laps. But as far as heads up racing, I don't know who you could say is better.
Yeah, and again, a guy that tests a lot of different parts, a lot of different power adders. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like anything. It's like the athletes. The athletes don't just have a different job all week long and then show up at baseball for the World Series. Mm-hmm. They're training hard all year, right? You know,
yeah.
So.
But let me ask you this: like, this is just stuff that I'm saying to you. So, you guys went. Well, what ET did you go in round one?
We won a 76, and we completely missed it. But that was the best we.
That was just our fault.
It was completely. We were behind the 8 ball, so
right.
That was the safest run we could run.
Let's not talk about how fast you could run, but what do you think when you figured it out? Versus good versus bad, or beginning versus end, whatever you want to call it. Are you going to tell me that you picked up 500s?
Yeah.
Okay, so what if you went and did that 2 more times? Like, right. Drag racing for me is like business.
Absolutely.
If I do $5 million in business and I say, let's lower our cost 10%, I walk around and I find 12% here and I find 3% there, and I just keep dumping it. It's like picking up change. If you pick up 100 pennies, eventually you got $1.
Yeah.
Right?
Spot on, man.
So you found 500s by just opening your eyes. What would happen if you really went and did some mushrooms or something? Like Elon Musk.
Some edibles?
Right. Well, no, they'll make you all tired and just want to eat. Do some psychedelics.
We'll be that'd be pretty cool. We could make some spaceships and shit.
Yeah.
You're a weirdo.
But that's why I'm saying to you, like, instead of complaining, all of us, right?
Mike Jones says,
why don't we go out and go, hey, if I can find 100th here and I can find 100th there, I only got to do it 9 times. I found 900s.
Now, listen, you're preaching to the choir, man. I agree. And Lee White, 99% of our success is because of Lee White. The other 1% is because of Camry. But
no, it's like 60-40.
But we need to go work harder. We just need to go work harder. That's all Lee ever says. We just need to go work harder. And, and he does a great job for the little bit of budget we give him. There's no doubt about it. So I think it's, like I said, I think it's going to be a real interesting year. It's going to be interesting to see what people do when it does get hotter. You know, are you going to see a lot of these Proline cars all of a sudden show up with turbos?
Probably not.
I don't know. I'm
I
just
know
asking.
we still got the turbo kit for Belushi's
See,
car.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't, you know, or all of a sudden, do some ProChargers show up with Roots blowers? You know, like what's
Well,
going on?
and that's where I'm saying to you, like the next place we're going to go is we're going to go over to the Roots world, and we have had some pretty good success, and I will say that the ProChargers are getting better by far. We've found them to become more reliable as of late. But before that, we had some struggles, but I will tell you one thing about ProCharger as a company is they have been standing behind their product. I mean, they can't snap their finger and it be repaired.
Yep.
But they have been engaging as far as, hey, we'd like every failure. We'd like to know all about it. Heck, they had a guy at the track, Orlando and Gainesville, and they're on it. Like, they're making sure you're doing this and you're doing that and you're draining the oil every run and you're doing everything they're asking you to do.
I'll be honest. I really thought we were going to see more failures with the ProChargers with this manual shifting, because I know from experience we ran a Vortex supercharger in Camry's top dragster, and they do not like to be over revved.
No, so I'll tell you, everybody that screwed up, like there was some missed shifts and some blown up ProChargers, just not in our pit. When I screwed up every time, I'd have the car in high gear 2 seconds. Because what would happen is I'd let go of the trans brake, shift it in a second because I didn't want to miss the shift, and then the 1-2 light would come on and I'd shift it again like an idiot. Right? So I will tell you.
So you were the opposite.
I think most people are making the mistake in early shifting.
Yeah, you might be right. So we
like
might
when you
still
watch
see
Barker's run against me, that thing looks like it's an F350 diesel with a 6.7 in it. And I'm going to say that I think he probably shifted early and he's lugged her right down.
Yeah. Yeah, and the nitrous car does not like that.
No.
Yeah, look, Spencer said that. Don't do that in a Roots car. That's a fact. That is a fact. I did
that in the car I tested in. I should
short shifted. Yeah, well, it's like anything. Until you have it, you don't have it.
Don't worry. The tall bully sat me down a few times, and we ended up changing the rack because he said you're going to blow the ProCharger off or hang the rods out. So put some rods in it because it doesn't like it short shifting.
Yeah. No, it doesn't like it one way or the other. So
I can assure you, my Vortex did not like it.
It did not. That's a fact.
It blew it up.
Oh, it blew it up good. Blew it up real good.
Hey, so what else do you want to talk about?
So let's see. You just you let the cat out of the bag a little bit there with you guys might be touring with a Roots supercharger, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody caught that when you said it, but I heard it.
Yeah.
So how soon do you think we might possibly see one sticking out one of the hoods of either yours or Belushi's?
Well, there's already a car built. So the car's done, it's painted. We're waiting on power and timing, not timing ignition wise, just on timing to get it all put together. And then it's Khaled's car. And him and I are going to share on the R&D.
Now, will you guys do any?
Drive it?
Well, it's Khaled's car.
So
probably Khaled first.
Drove Justin's car.
Yeah, well.
So.
You're right. I mean, if I look at the tally sheet, he owes me a couple of rides.
Yeah, I feel like it's your turn.
I'll wait for when I'm really down and out and I need a borrowed horse.
Oh man, too funny. So, will you guys do any testing between now and Atlanta?
Yeah.
All right. You want us to come?
No.
I'm not even going to Atlanta.
That's
yeah.
funny.
No, we're hoping to do. We got some other stuff we want to try. And I think so for everybody to understand, I think the one thing that me and Khaled do have in common is we just like the challenge of trying to make it better, and we have a very motivated tuner that is always like, yeah, it's great you just did that, but that's like yesterday now. So what are we doing tomorrow? And even in my business, I mean, my one of my favorite lines at work is there's a reason why the windshield is 300 or 400 times bigger than the rearview mirror.
I love it.
Right?
That's awesome.
You should say that at work.
That is awesome. I love it. That is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
So let's see. You guys got you've got 2 ProChargers. You got a roots blower going on. You got the nitrous car, and
They have the turbo setup.
and they still have the turbo setup. So you guys got all the bases covered.
We're trying.
And this is going to be your first year going full force after it. You're gonna,
as long as the border rules. I mean, it's really hard for us to get down there and whatnot. So, well, I know that our team will definitely run all year. Myself personally, I have those intentions, but you know,
does your business make it a little bit easier for you to get over here?
well, yes and no. I mean, in what we do, we manufacture farm machinery, and if I have somebody that's broke down there or whatever, it will help me because I can kind of do 2 birds with 1 stone deal.
Yep.
But yeah, it
So
helps.
tell everybody that's watching, tell them a little bit about what you do, because it was very interesting. I just found out, Camry told me tonight at dinner that you actually have a dealer right here just the next town over from us. So tell everybody what you do.
So I started my own business in 2003, and we manufacture farm machinery, and it's called JBS Equipment, and we manufacture dry box manure spreaders, silage trailers, and silage baggers, and bedding flingers that put sand bedding or straw bedding in the cattle stalls.
Very cool. How long have you been doing that?
Since, well, I got into the industry in 1998.
That was the year you were born.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, and then I started on my own in 2003.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, congratulations to you. I mean, you're obviously doing a great job with it. Grant Mills has a question. Is the blower project with ProLine 2? Could be.
You never know.
Well, they were dabbling. They were dabbling with Al Billis's car. You know, Al couldn't get over here because he's up in Canada, and so Al worked out.
I think he's just being a wimp. I think he can come if he wanted to. He doesn't.
Be careful. Be careful.
I talked to Al yesterday.
I never did. What if he doesn't take your phone call the next time?
He will.
Yeah, no. So obviously he couldn't get over here, so he worked out a deal with Eric over at ProLine, and they were dabbling a little bit with his car with a roots blower. It seems to be sidelined at the moment. I'm not sure where that, if it's over or if they've just paused it or
ProLine is I'm sure they are not doing nothing. I'm sure they're
just because you don't see it at the racetrack, right?
We've done really great with it, or hey, we're missing it, or I'm sure, and it won't be that it's dead. It might be that there's something that's of higher priority.
Yeah. No, it definitely, just because you don't see it at the racetrack doesn't mean they're not working on it.
No.
That's a fact.
True innovators don't share what they're working on.
Yeah. There's some guys that do some testing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
They test a lot.
They do a lot of testing.
When you got a hub dyno and you pretty much run, I don't know, let's say 25% of the cars in the entire country have been on their hub dyno. They probably know what's going on.
Yeah, I'd say they got a pretty good finger on the pulse for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, Justin, we really appreciate you taking time out of your evening and coming on the show with us, and hopefully we can get you back on here again. I know you runnered up this past weekend. You were #1 qualifier runner-up, so my guess is that we're going to see you in the winner's circle holding another Wally here pretty soon.
I'm hoping so. Hey, just before I let you guys go, I just wanted to say that, I'm very fortunate and I'm truly honored to race on the Bowring 1 team and with all my teammates, and I want to thank the Sheik, and I also wanted to just take a minute and thank all our sponsors that help us, and also we do have Facebook, Instagram, and all that, and it's jbsmotorsports.com. And if you guys we are like you looking for sponsors, and if you guys are interested, just contact us on some sort of social media platform.
Right on. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Justin. We really appreciate it. Good luck to you and your team, and we look forward to seeing you at the racetrack real soon.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. Have a great rest of your evening. So long.
You too.
Well, there you go, everybody. Mr. Justin Bond. What a great guy. He was a lot of fun to talk to.
Play with the rules.
Yeah, no, he was a lot of fun to talk to, and straight shooter, and I think he had a lot of great things to say. And from seeing the comments, everybody seemed to agree that they really enjoyed having him on. Let's see. When Proline is absent, that is when you need to look for them.
Dylan wants to know if we can ship 4 COVID tests up to him so he can come to the United States.
I'll do one better. I'll come there in my airplane and pick you up. We miss having you guys at the racetrack.
You can't just fly across the border. It just doesn't work.
You can. The problem is when you land. The flying isn't the problem. All right. Well, everybody, thanks again for another great Tuesday night here at Caruso Family Racing. We want to say thank you not only to you, everybody that comes on every Tuesday, but we also want to say thank you to Wright Trailers, NGK Spark Plugs, MGP Connecting Rods, VP Racing Fuels, Fuel Tech, Manly, Speed Shark Graphics, House of Pain Performance, Platinum Landscaping, Adam Lambert. You rock, my friend. Actually, he's got your shocks.
I know.
He's got your shocks
That's
for your new
why
car.
I'm going to be fast.
So, yeah, we got some great stuff. Hopefully, Justin Elks over at Modern Racing, who has Camry's new race car, is going to be sending us some spy photos soon, hopefully, on all the great updates that are getting done to it. We're going to be, hopefully, in about 2 weeks from today, at the racetrack doing some testing, getting ready for the very first PDRA.
Don't tell people that.
What?
That we're testing in case we don't do so great.
Oh, dear God.
I don't want people.
You wouldn't settle for anything less.
No, I wouldn't.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We would not leave the racetrack until we did good.
Look forward to seeing everybody next Tuesday. But until then, remember, it's nice to be important.
It's more important to be nice.
See ya.